Well, hello, welcome to the meeting place in our online experience. My name's Tony. I have the privilege of being the pastor here. And today, I told you if you saw it through social media, that today we have a big announcement for you that I can't wait to get to. Should I start with it? No, I'm going to wait till the end, okay? So it's going to be at the end of today's message, but the message, we're changing things up a bit for the summer, okay? So during this series, we're going to consolidate and really kind of narrow the focus on what we're doing here. And so each week, here's what you can expect for this series, is that we're going to take 10 minutes and we're going to do what I call the 3-in-1. 3-in-1. So each week, in 10 minutes or less, we're going to take one big idea, we're going to take one big challenge, and we're going to ask one big question to end it all. Okay, so 3 things in 10 minutes. The 3 in 10. One big idea, one big challenge, and one big question that we can ask ourselves as we go throughout the following week. And so that's going to be our summer series. So the message will be shorter and pointed and focused so you can just chew on it, wrestle with it, apply it to your life, and continue to think about the things of Jesus. And so I'm excited for this series. Now, at the end of today's talk, I'm going to jump right back in here with you, and I'm going to explain how you can be involved in helping us decide what goes into our mixtape, as well as our big announcement for you. Okay? So stay tuned. Let's jump right in right here. Go. Well, hello. We are going to jump right in today to this new series that we're doing called Summer Mixtape, where we're looking at 3 big things in 10 minutes or less. And so we're jumping right in here to our big idea for the day. Here it is. It's that curiosity creates connection. Curiosity creates connection. Now, let me explain how we're going to get there, okay? Like right now, for you, do you feel disconnected? Do you feel disconnected from things that you're used to being connected to? Maybe for you today, life looks much different than it did 3 or 4 months ago. Maybe you're working less hours or you're not working at all. Maybe you're missing time with friends or family, or you missed out on a trip that you were supposed to go on and you just feel disconnected. A lot of you watching this, you feel disconnected from your church family, right? And you're asking, when are we going to be back together? When do we get to gather together again? And you just feel disconnected. And then on top of all that, do you feel disconnected in your relationship to God? That through these uncertain times that your relationship with God seems to also be kind of dissipating and waning and even disappearing. Do you feel disconnected from God? I want you to know, and because that's kind of where we're going to focus today, is that following Jesus is always meant to be about connection. The invitation to follow Jesus is always meant to be a connection, because to follow Jesus is to be in relationship with Jesus. It's to follow, is to learn from, to live with, to live like Jesus. And if you just reduce following Jesus down, if like a religious approach to this is to reduce it down to a bunch of boxes that you check off of things to do and things to not do, and if you do all the right things and don't do all the wrong things, then you're going to be tight with the big guy upstairs, right? And that's not the invitation to follow. It's a relational invitation. It's ongoing. There's always more to be discovered. It's not about a destination that you arrive at. It's what you experience as you go. This last week, I drove 1,200 miles from San Francisco to Spokane with my 3 kids in the car with me. We went on a kind of a spontaneous trip to pick up a car. And here's the thing, we could have made it all about the destination. It could have all about, we got to get home. 1,200 miles, let's do it, you know, and just drove. And you're going to sit there, you're going to be quiet, you're not going to talk, you're not going to touch, and so help me God, if one of you little rugrats says the words, "Are we there yet?" I'm going to blow up, right? Parents, you know what I'm talking about. That's not what the intent was. And so from the get-go, we said, we're going to do all sorts of stuff. If you see something you want to do, let's stop, pull over, and do it. Let's go see it. Let's experience things along the way. And we did. We went downtown San Francisco and looked for seals out on the pier on Fisherman's Wharf, and there were no seals. and then we went and we drove across the Golden Gate Bridge. We swam in the ocean. We ate ice cream every day. We walked up to strangers, and I used my 4-year-old who's super cute, and I said, "Hey, could we borrow your rafts and so I can take my kids and float down the river?" And they looked at her and they couldn't say no, and so we borrowed rafts from a stranger. We float the river. We did all sorts of things. We explored all sorts of things, and the kids, they did what kids do, and they asked all sorts of questions, right? They ask things like, why is the Golden Gate Bridge red when it's called the Golden Gate Bridge? They ask like, hey, why is it when you look down the road, you've seen this, when you look down the road, it looks like there's water way up there, but then when we get there, it's gone or it's dried up. Why is that, Dad? They ask things like why is the sky blue if it's actually black at night? Like why? What makes this work? What is all that? Well, that's curiosity. And you expect that from kids. But somewhere along the way, we lose our curiosity when it comes to God. And curiosity creates connection. So coming back to the question, how connected to God do you feel? Perhaps we could phrase the question like this. And in phrasing it like this, it helps also diagnose the question. And so we could say it like this: are you spiritually curious? Are you spiritually curious? A lot of people come to me as a pastor and they ask things like, hey, how do I get close to God? I don't feel connected to God anymore. Things aren't like they used to be. They explain that they used to feel connected and they don't anymore. Perhaps that even describes you, or you've gone through a season where you've felt that way. Like, why aren't things the way they used to be? I don't feel connected to God. Or you think about your past, like when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, man, I just had a passion for the things of God. And now it just seems to have fizzled out. Why is that? So think of it like this: are you spiritually curious? Are you curious about the things of Jesus? See, if you got a chance to sit down with a celebrity or a famous musician, your curiosity would spike. Just because they're famous, they're a celebrity, they're a star. And so even if you've never seen a movie and you can't name a song, you're going to ask them questions. What was it like when? Did you ever meet? Did you ever get to, in your spirit, your curiosity just gets evoked within you because you admire their stardom. You admire their celebrity status. If you got a chance to sit down with a billionaire over coffee, of course you'd ask all sorts of questions based on their success. How'd you get started? How'd you do this? What'd you do when? Can I have $1 million? Right? Just the normal stuff. But you'd ask these questions because you admire their success. But something happens over time when it comes to God that we lose our curiosity. We lose our curiosity for the one that takes our old and makes things new. We lose our curiosity for the one that we find freedom in. We lose our curiosity for the one that helps us discover our God-given purpose. We've lost it. Where did it go? When we lose our curiosity. I've been told this little saying, in fact, I've said it before, maybe you've heard it. It's actually a quote from Aristotle, and it goes like this. It says, the more you know, the more you realize that you don't know. Isn't that fascinating? The more you know, the more you realize that you don't know. Do you think it's true? It's easy to see how it's true in fields of study like science, and when one question is answered, you realize that there's 10 more questions now that you're searching for answers. Do you remember being in third grade, 9 years old, and the teacher hands you a recorder and they teach you to sing the song or play the song Hot Cross Buns, right? And you're like, hot cross buns, hot cross. What are you doing? B-A-G, B-A-G, G-G-G-G-A, B-A-G, right? But even then, you're like, wow, this is cool music, notes, but you don't think you're a star yet. You realize there's so much more to learn. You know a little bit, but now, wow, look what else I could do. Look at the other songs that the older kids can play. Wow, if only, how could I? Maybe one day, right? And it evokes curiosity within us because we know there's so much more to be learned. But for so many people, when it comes to Christianity, we lose our curiosity. And so many Christians are living off of their faith that was developed through a series of Sunday school classes over a decade ago. But yet, back then, it felt right. You got some confidence in your faith. It felt good. It looked good. You boxed it up. You wrapped it up. You put a bow on it. Man, that's perfect. And months pass and years pass. Pastor, how can I go back to that? And you've lost curiosity. You've lost the desire to learn and grow through curiosity. So here's my big challenge to you, okay? Here it is, the big challenge, okay? It's this: to be spiritually curious. To be spiritually curious. There's spiritually curious people all around you, right? This is what prompts people to make decisions to follow Jesus, because once you study and discover Jesus, it's easy to see that he's worth following. But sometimes in religious circles and circles of faith, spiritual curiosity is related to or is equivalent to spiritual immaturity. And if that's the case, then I want you to know that you have a very spiritually immature pastor. Okay, you already knew that, some of you, okay? You're like, yeah, we knew you're immature, Tony. Okay, but spiritually immature, I've got so many questions. But for me, it's these questions, man, that just keep me connected to my faith, keep me desiring to grow, keep me connected to God. I want us to be spiritually curious people. I want you to do this week, so let's just make it practical. This week, ask one question of Jesus, and then go search for the answer. Ask a question, find a question, decide on a question of the things of Christ, and then go search for an answer. So use your Bible, use Google, ask your parents, ask a friend, ask Siri, shake a magic 8-ball, whatever you've got to do. But search for an answer. And just remember that it's not about the destination. It's not about having all of the answers, but it's about the connection that you make along the way. Spiritually, or curiosity creates connection, and we're to be spiritually curious people. But then that creates a big question for some of us, and here it is, the last of the three, your big question. What do I do then when I feel connected to God? How do I know that I'm hearing from God and not my own mind? How do I know that I'm interpreting Scripture correctly? How do I know it's God's voice and not something else? And that's a big question for another time. Well, thanks for joining us today as we've kicked off this series. I hope that you found today's message, I hope you found it helpful and challenging and even thought-provoking as you head into your week. All right, here's two things. One is I need your help, okay? We're doing this summer mixtape series, and if you know what a mixtape is, if you're over like 25 years old, you should know what a cassette tape is. Maybe you have to be over 30, I'm not sure. But a cassette, you put together your favorite songs on one tape that you can play when you're on a road trip, or like me, a friend gave me a mixtape for my wedding night. Bounce, go, wow, wow. You know what I'm talking about. But a mixtape is a collection of your favorite songs. Well, help us decide the tracks that go into this mixtape for the summer, okay? What are your favorite things to talk about when you think of Jesus? What are your favorite things to learn about? If you could hear a talk on this. And so right now you can write it in the comments below or beside or wherever they're at, on Facebook, on YouTube. Take the time, do it now, and let us know what are some of the things you would love to hear and love to be included on this summer mixtape, because we're really looking forward to doing more 3 and 10s this summer with you over the next 6 weeks or so. Okay? So that's the first thing. The second thing is this. I told you there's a big announcement. Here it is. Big, big, big. Okay? So many of us have been asking, when are we going to be back? When are we going to be back? And I've been asking it, and a lot of you have been asking it. And so here's the thing, is that we still don't know the answer to back to any sort of normal or back to regular, but we have your first opportunity for us as TMPers to come back together and gather together through the form of a worship and prayer night, okay? And guess what? It happens this Friday. You see the camera shake? Ooh. Okay, this Friday night, okay, July 17th, 7 p.m. here at the building. We're going to have live music. We're going to have worship and prayer together. Sierra, our music leader, you guys know her, you love her. She's about to pop, okay? She is super pregnant. She's due at the end of the month. And so she was like, let's do this. Let's just get anybody who can and who wants to come together, and let's do a worship and prayer night. And so here's what you got to know for that, okay? Here's the guidelines that we're using to come together for that event. We're going to make sure we've got sanitary things around the building so you can wash your hands and all those things. But here at the building, we're going to practice social distancing. Every person will wear a mask, or you'll be provided one in case you don't have one. And then the other thing we're doing is it's going to be for 13 years old or older, okay? So none of the younger kids at this first gathering. This is kind of a practice get together, but we're going to be able to come together and worship and pray and just be together. I think that's so cool. I've been so looking forward to this moment that we get to have Friday night, 7 p.m. Okay, if you can't make it, that's okay. If you're not, if you're not comfortable yet going into a crowd like that, that's okay. We will have to have some capacity issues, and we'll deal with those as they come. And then also we will be wearing masks. And so if you're anti-masks, that's okay. But just know that here you'll be expected to wear one if you want to come inside. So we're excited to be together, and so I'd invite you to come and participate with us at the meeting place Again, Friday, 7 p.m. On the 17th. There, that's it. Okay, isn't that awesome? So again, next week, our new track will drop at 10 a.m. for our series, our 3 and 10 summer mixtape. I love you. I miss you. I've talked way too much. Now go enjoy your Sunday. Okay, apply your challenge to your life and just continue to ponder the things of Jesus. All right, guys, we'll see you soon.